Hello, and welcome to an intro to Anthro with two humans. I'm human number one, John McCray.
And I'm human number two, John Lehr.
And this is the podcast where we reassess what it means to be human. And the title of this episode is For Fear of Little Men, Fairies, Pixies, and Other Assorted Wee Folk.
Wee folk? All right. I'm in.
All right. First of all, John, I have to apologize to you and to our... I have a bit of a cold that's coming.
I mean, I can't really hear it.
Really? Well,
you don't get sick that often.
I know.
When you get sick, you go down hard, I've noticed.
I know. I know you insist upon perfection in your art.
Yes, I do. Should we cancel? Let's reschedule until you're 100%.
Well, we can't because this is our annual Halloween episode.
Woo! Happy Halloween, everybody!
Happy Halloween. If you see something coming out of my nose,
yeah,
just know.
What are you going as this year for Halloween?
I don't, no spoiler, but Mary and I are hosting a Vincent Price. You know, Vincent Price used to do a cooking show.
Yes, I did. I did. Oddly. Yeah.
So Mary and I are both into Vincent Price. And so she obtained his cookbooks.
Oh.
And so we're doing a Vincent Price movie showing party at our house. And we're also doing everybody has to make a dish from the Vincent Price.
Oh my God. That's fantastic. Do you know what you're making?
I'm making, he did a thing where he made, cucumbers look like crocodiles.
No.
so I'm doing that.
All right, be careful with that paring knife.
I know. Next time you'll see me.
Cucumbers can slip on you.
But we're going as Sonny and Cher, obviously, and then Oksana, our dog, is going as Chastity. We have a
blood that's fantastic. I don't know who I'm going as. Hudson, my son, is going as Han Solo.
Oh, really?
And his girlfriend is going as Princess Leia.
So I could see him.
Yeah. So I don't know what my daughter's doing. I know a friend who's going as a fish, which I thought was a good one.
Maybe you could go with Hudson. Yeah, put some gold foil on you and go as who is it?
C-3PO. That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
I'm sure they would love that.
Yeah, they'd love for me to hang around. Hello, Princess Leia. Princess Leia. Hello. Oh my goodness.
And you won't break character.
Never. The whole night. She's just like, your dad. You got to get rid of him.
But John, as you know, in past Halloween episodes, we've discussed the origins of Halloween, the existence of ghosts, and the cultural meaning of ghost stories. And every year I ask the same question about ghosts. Like, I understand it's possible that ghosts are the remains of the energy of human beings after they pass over.
Sure.
But my question is always, how do our clothes get over there?
Yeah. Why aren't they naked all the time? I don't understand.
Whenever people see ghosts, they're always wearing clothes, which I get it. Like, it could be like you think our clothes would be like.
And choose. Like, maybe it's the ghost sort of perception of itself when it was alive, because ghosts don't know they're dead, right?
Well,
so I sure as hell wouldn't want to be naked as a ghost. I'd be really scary then.
Yeah, I find it both titillating and also fills me with anxiety.
Yeah, and anxiety, yeah. God. Listen, if you come back as a ghost to me, don't come nude. I don't want to see it.
You know what? I'll put on a towel.
Yeah, wear a towel. Yeah, that'd be great.
You'll see me.
You're always just out of the shower.
Yeah, you'll see me in your office. Like haunting, just a flitting glimpse of me as I go walking out of your bathroom.
Oh, God.
That gives me something to look forward to when I pass. But this year also, you have your own ghost story to tell. You had a ghostly experience this year. I
did, and it was with you.
Yeah.
We were at a haunted hotel in near Las Vegas, Nevada. We're
Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Yeah, New Mexico.
We were in little Las Vegas, the original Las Vegas.
Yeah. Yes, and I was staying on the third floor, as were you.
Yes.
And I heard some furniture being dragged around. No, were we on the second floor or the third floor?
We were on the second floor. The third floor is actually empty. That's the whole
it's
thing.
Empty. And so I heard some furniture being dragged around, and I thought I saw a train go by. Neither were possible.
Right.
We learned the next day that the lady said that, the third floor is empty. She said, "What room?" She said, were you in 215? And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Uh-huh." Like, no way. Like, that's the haunted room.
I know.
But it really, I have never really believed. I've been very much a cynic and have never had any sort of experience, but I did have that experience to my delight. I'm so happy because I know how happy it made you.
I think they knew nobody else had an experience that weekend.
No. And you guys are all, you guys all brought your ghost hunting equipment.
They knew the ghost knew you were a virgin. They were.
My cherry was popped.
Yeah.
There's
a virgin in 215.
And so then the next night we sat in your place.
Right.
Or was that same night? Anyway, we sat in your place and you had some sort of gizmo.
Yeah. A REM pod. Where if something passes close to it, it will go off. It'd be like, woo, woo.
Yeah. Funny. That was so fun. It didn't, the REM pod just, it potted. It didn't do one goddamn thing. But then I go in bed and suddenly I see a train, I hear furniture. It's like crazy, Bill.
You're a trigger object. I need to take you with us whenever.
I think I was asleep and imagined it all. And you just filled my head with all these stories. But there have been a lot of haunted sightings at this hotel. What's the name of it? I forgot the name of it.
The Castaneda Hotel in Las Vegas, New Mexico, which Ghost Adventures did one there. But what was funny is you were just talking about, and the woman heard us from across the lobby, the woman that works there.
Yes.
And walked over, and she didn't know what room you were in because she wasn't there when we checked in.
Right.
And she was like, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it overhearing. Did you hear some furniture? What, are you in room 215? And that's
and we were all just like, what? And she was like, she nodded knowingly.
Yeah.
Like, mm-hmm. Well, if anybody is in that area, I highly recommend to stay at that hotel. So much fun. We had a blast. That was fun.
Right. We'll have to we'll do a 200th episode. I'm working on our 100th episode where we're going.
Well, we'll do a live show perhaps.
Right. When the train went by, were the ghosts naked?
No, but I could see into it. Like I saw silhouettes and stuff. So it had to be, and then the next day I saw the track was way too far away for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Creepy.
God, yeah. I did take a hit of acid that night too, so that could have been a part of it. I don't know.
I don't know. Don't sell yourself short. Okay. I mean, I think you. I'm going to say it was generous.
I should probably stay the night in, not tripping on acid, just to see.
Yeah. All right. So, John, ghosts are definitely scary, but today we're going to talk about something that terrified our ancestors as much as, if not more than ghosts.
Yes. Lilliputians.
Yes, I'm talking, of course, about fairies. or as they've also been called, the wee folk, the little people, the gentry, the people of peace, the good neighbors, or the fair folk.
People of peace? That doesn't sound scary.
We'll get to why they called them that.
Uh-oh.
In Spain, they're known as the fada, which comes from the Latin fatum, which means fate.
Ooh.
And in France, they're known as nos bonnes mères, which means our good mothers.
Our good mothers. Interesting. The French. Well,
I know. And originally, I thought it was kind of like mafia. You know how mafia members call each other good fellows? Like, he's okay.
Yes. Our good neighbors.
Yeah. He's a good fella. He's one of us,
And you pull down your lower eyelid.
Yeah. Right. Did you say Dom DeLuise did that too?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always loved him.
God, that guy was funny.
And he was.
Beloved. Oh my God, what a wonderful guy.
And so I kind of imagine like fairies, like when they meet other fairies, they'll be like, hey, he's okay. He's one of us. He's a wee folk. He's a wee fella or something like that, And the thing is, you probably would have already guessed that he was a wee folk, because traditionally fairies were about the size of human 3-year-old children.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah.
They
Yeah.
weren't that, they weren't smaller? I always thought of them as like 6 inches or 3 and 4 or somewhere in there.
That's kind of like a later development, but historically, like the traditional fairies, some of there would be really small ones. Some were like normal size. Some could like change their size.
What the
But
hell?
but generally they were about the size. The traditional fairy, good old fashioned fairy, without all tricked out, without
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
accessories, was about the
Naked.
size of a 3-year-old child.
Wow. Naked as a jaybird and a 3-year-old. Well, they're in their self.
But
Like
still
it's a
a wizened old
leprechaun.
man.
Where do
With
leprechauns fit into all of this? Are they
they're
considered
yeah,
fairies?
they're fairies. They're
Okay.
fairies, yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
A type of fairy. It's just kind of like, I
And
don't know,
are
I
we
guess
spelling it Faer? What are we spelling it in the old English way, or is it Fair? What do you prefer, Professor?
for this we're doing FAIR,
Okay.
but it could be, they're all the same. You could call
Okay.
them the Fae, FAE. You
Yes.
could call them fairies, FAEIRY.
What's that called when the A and the E is one letter that it's bunched together? There's a
Oh,
name. There's a term for that.
yeah. Yeah, I know it.
Not a
I know
schwa.
it.
That's an upside down E.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I know what it is. We'll post it.
Yeah. We'll
Because
post
now
it.
you got me thinking about this
I know.
whole
I
episode.
know
I'm
you
going to
know it. Didn't you teach yourself Gaelic at one point?
well, part of it, but it's in archaeology. Like in England, they spell archaeology with that thing.
That
I,
AE, that
yeah,
weird AE letter.
ARCHAE sort of thing.
Mm.
Um, but the reason why they called them the gentry, the people of peace, the good neighbors, those were all euphemisms that were used by humans whenever they were talking about fairies.
Oh.
Because the last thing you wanted was to be talking shit about a fairy.
Oh.
And to have a fairy overhear you, like, a
Oh,
fairy
so they're
was
doing the
nearby.
double end around. It's like
Right,
yeah, that's like when they say break a leg before a show.
right,
It's
right.
to fool the fates to make them think you want your leg broken. They want to do the opposite, so they don't ruin the show. They don't break.
And right, and actually, like we talk about in Spain, the fairies are called fada, from fate. So there's a lot of overlap between
Mm.
the fates and fairies and what fairies do.
Okay.
So, and again, it's like the last thing you wanted to do was to be talking shit about a fairy and have the fairy over and piss off the fairy.
Yeah.
Because just like the mafia, the fairy could be like, "Hey, that's a nice cow you got there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to see you in a milking accident or something." You know what I mean? That like
Right.
if you,
You
so
piss
you
them off, and they get very angry. They're quick to anger. The
right,
fairies.
right.
Wow. Okay.
So you call them, you refer to them as
Typical
the good
Napoleon
neighbors.
complex. You know what I mean? They're just overreacting to everything.
It's funny you mentioned. I actually lost a sales job right out of college when I made a joke that when they asked me what are your weaknesses, and I jokingly said my Napoleon complex, thinking it would be a joke, and never heard from them again.
Really?
Yeah, like before that, it was all like, "We're all going down to New Orleans. I want you to meet the guys."
Oh my
Uh,
god.
what are your strengths? And I said, I don't remember, the same old bullshit everybody always says. And they was like, "What's your weakness?" And I go, "I don't know, my Napoleon complex." And I kind of laughed, and it
And they
was
were
like
like,
silence. Yeah,
"Oh Jesus,
never
God,
heard from, never got to go to New Orleans with
a
them.
world without humor." Oh boy.
uh, and today we like to think of fairies as like winged do-gooders in tights who flit around and like,
Yeah. Tinkerbell.
yeah, and save, protect the environment and everything. Uh, but that was something that happened in like the late 1800s, early 1900s, that development. And it actually had a lot to do with, like Walt Disney as well, had a lot to
Yeah.
do with our current modern perception of what fairies are.
Yeah. He took all the dark stuff and made it sweet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the Grimm's fairy tales were inspiration, but then he made it all very sweet, which, okay.
Yeah. There's still a lot of death in all of his stories. If you
Yeah.
think about all those stories that came out in the films that they did, the cartoons and the Bambi.
Bambi, Jesus.
Yeah.
Bambi is like child abuse. God, I saw that thing when I was a little kid and it destroyed me. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. In all those fairy tales that they did, there's always somebody dying in them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Different time.
Different time.
But for most of history, fairies were right up there with ghosts and demons on the terror scale. And in the book, Spirits, Fairies, Gnomes, and Goblins, an encyclopedia of the little people, Carol Rose said...
You read that? You had to read that. Did you read the whole thing?
I went through all of it. Yeah, it's pretty.
My God. I don't think our listeners realize how much work you do for this.
This one, I had probably the most notes we've ever taken on it, and I just didn't know where to go with this one because all of it was so good. But Carol Rose says, between the gods and heroes and mere mortals, there is another group of beings that holds a very special place in the cultural development and expression of human society. These are the little people. And Rose further says that fairies may be either entirely good or entirely evil, or both good and evil at different times.
Okay. Sounds like people I know.
I know.
Sounds like humans.
That's what makes fairies so frightening to me, I think. Because with a demon, you pretty well know that a demon's going to be evil.
The branding is pretty straightforward. You get it.
You don't have like Casper the Friendly Demon. You know what I mean? He's like already. But fairies, like you say, are like people. You have to interact with them and develop a relationship with them before you know what their intentions are. You know, it's like Match.com.
Yeah, it is. It's like Match. Is Match still around? Match is still around, right?
I think so.
God,
I think
we don't know.
It's kind of like the Yahoo of
oh, really?
It's computer dating. Yeah,
it's like,
I think there's something else out there,
like Wonder Bread of dating. Well, there we go. We just blew our chance to have Match as a sponsor.
Maybe we should just delete this out and we'll contact them. Tell them
this is an example of what not to do with a fairy. You don't start dissing them, or they're going to get back at you.
Our good neighbors at Match.com. But for hundreds of thousands of years, or for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, the last thing you wanted to run across on a deserted country road was a fairy.
Wow. Jesus.
And I'll give you an example. The title of this episode actually comes from the 1850 poem, The Fairies, by Irish poet Willing Allingham.
Okay.
And the first verse of Allingham's poem says, up the airy mountain, down the rushy glen, we daren't go a-hunting for fear of little men. Wee folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and white owl's feather.
You sound very intimidating.
But he's saying we daren't go a-hunting. Like, they don't want to go out.
They don't want to go. They don't want to go hunting for fear of them.
Right, that they'll run into fairies. I mean, these are werewolves that they're talking about. These are fairies that they're talking about.
Right. And they've got to hunt. This is like going to the grocery store.
Right. Right. So they're like, we don't go out for fear of little men. Like, stay inside. In another verse of the poem, Allingham says, they stole little Bridget for 7 years long. When she came down again, her friends were all gone. And this is something in fairy lore. They say that people are often kidnapped by fairies, or they're invited by the fairies to go to a fairy party. And
that sounds disturbing.
I know. You think you're gone for a few hours, and then when you finally leave the party with the fairies and you come back home to your village, all of your family, all of your friends have died of old age.
Oh, time continued without you.
Right.
You were frozen in time, and now you come back and everybody you know is dead.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
I'd love that. Just to start over. You know what I mean? Just to be like, yeah, oh, okay.
To me, it sounded like what happens when you go to a casino. You're in there. You think you've been in there a couple hours. You come out and it's like dark outside. You don't know where your car is.
Right.
And the next line, I just want to say, they, meaning the fairies, took her lightly back. So they took Bridget back.
Okay.
Between the night and morrow, they thought she was fast asleep, but she was dead with sorrow. And so she dies. She dies in the poem, and the fairies take her back and just kind of hold on to her body, thinking that she's asleep and that she's going to wake up again. But that's how creepy fairies can be, you know.
Okay.
And another aspect of traditional fairy stories, in most traditional fairy stories, you don't have a fairy godmother turning a pumpkin into a coach and taking you to a party to meet a handsome prince.
Good.
And live happily ever after. In fact, in a lot of traditional fairy stories, they end in tragedy and sadness.
They're kind of bad. They're just bad luck.
Right. They'll just kind of fuck with you. You know what I mean? They're just it's a bad relationship once you get into them.
There's a subtlety to their game. They're not straight on. They just slowly wear you down and break you and make you miserable.
Right. It is, yeah, but you can't give them up. You know what I mean? It's like once you get and especially when it comes to stories about changelings, because fairies were also known to kidnap healthy human babies and replace them with sickly or ill-behaved fairy babies.
So is this how people explained away their kids dying, their infant mortality rate? The fairies did it?
Right. We'll go into it a little bit, but like birth defects, or if you had a kid that was colicky and didn't behave well, it was like, well, that's not my baby. My baby was perfect. It's the fairies came and gave me this changeling.
Oh, so you have somebody to blame for your child's health problems.
And there were horrible means by which you would try to make a changeling reveal its fairy nature, which we'll go into details.
Oh no! Oh God!
Yeah.
Oh boy!
And then we're going to discuss today we're going to discuss the history of fairy lore, what fairies might be, what to do if you ever meet a fairy.
Okay, good.
And then we're going to discuss the Cottingley fairy incident in 1920 in England, in which two young girls caused a sensation when they claimed to have photographed some fairies in a stream behind their house.
Oh God! Way before social media fake news, we had fake news.
I know.
That's great.
And I sent you the photos, so we'll get your opinion.
Yeah,
I trust you've had the chance to look them over.
Yes,
with your discerning eye.
I certainly have. I've gone over them. Finally, my Air Mac retinal display comes in handy.
The Cottingley. You need to put that out on all of our Facebook. I've revealed it. Exposed. The Cottingley fairy incident, the reason why it was important as far as fairy stories go, it also attracted the attention of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
I saw that. I can't believe it.
Who he was the creator of Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, I've read every story, every Sherlock Holmes mystery I've read. I got on a tear at one point. This was back when I was on drugs, but yeah.
And then I think it's Sherlock Holmes that tells Watson, or maybe it was Conan Doyle, but it's like when you when you eliminate all the possible, whatever remains has to be the answer.
Yes. Yes.
And so Conan Doyle actually believed these photos to be genuine. So we'll discuss that in a little more detail later.
Oh man.
And then finally, John, we'll discuss my own adventure in Fairyland.
Yes, okay.
Because believe it or not, I had an adventure in Fairyland.
I do not doubt that one bit. I'm sort of worried that you're a changeling. I'm sort of like, how do I know you're you?
I always, actually, all my life, I was hoping I was a changeling and that my real parents would come and pick me up from my family. But as I got older and lost my hair, I realized I looked exactly like my father.
Yeah. All three of the brothers.
I know.
You guys are like identical.
There's no, if we were, they changed us all out, and then we're like, I'm not going back for that one.
Particularly you and Steve, as you two get older, my God. If you didn't have the long hair,
my dad was half Welsh, so like his family was all like, they actually spoke Welsh and everything. But anyway, Steve and I got a lot of that Welsh. I think we're all from that side of the family. We kind of look like that.
Welsh miners.
Yeah. So the first question, John, we're going to ask is, why did people tell fairy stories? And Carol Rose says that fairy stories may depict the expression of social needs.
Okay.
And it's true that most traditional fairy tales usually contain a moral lesson in them. Like someone does something they shouldn't be doing. They encounter a fairy and it ends badly, and they learn their lesson and they won't do it again.
Yeah. A lot of superstitions are like that,
Right.
Don't walk under a ladder. Why? Because it's dangerous. You make it superstitious to not walk under a ladder. It makes sense.
Right. It's bad luck. It's bad luck.
Bad luck.
And so in a lot of the fairy stories, traditional fairy stories, the fairies will promise people something that turns out not to be as good as it seems. So, for example, fairy gifts have a tendency of reverting back to their original state.
Oh, boy. Mm-hmm.
So the fairy may give you a lot of like gold coins and cash. And then when you finally need it and you run back and you open your closet, you realize it's just a bunch of nuts and leaves.
Yeah, like Bitcoin. Exactly like Bitcoin.
I was thinking it's like Hollywood. It's like all my agents that I have. And interestingly, in the book, The Complete Idiot's Guide to Elves and Fairies.
Oh, boy. They did one of those? My God. The Idiot's Guide. They've done everything.
They must be running out of things.
What are we going to do?
It used to be really helpful when you'd be like, oh, I want to learn Excel. But now they have like Complete Idiot's Guide to Masturbation.
Complete Idiot's Guide to Sitting Down in a Chair.
It's like,
and it's super thick.
Yeah, it's like 1.5 inches thick. But Sirona Knight says, because they have become mostly children's stories, fairy tales influence our social development and the archetypal images we form at an early age. As children, we are quite willing to accept the idea that there is a magical quality to life. In this way, fairy tales set up our framework for magic, which I think is kind of profound, because it is true. Like she says, most of the early stories we learn are fairy stories.
Yes, they are. They're fairy tales.
And so we learn how to read them. We listen to them when people tell us fairy tales. And if you think about the character attributes that most modern fairy tales have, it's like their heroes are honest, hardworking, innocent, pure of thought, trustworthy, and loyal.
Right.
And the people, they're usually being mistreated by a wicked queen or a king or a sheriff or somebody, or a stepmother who lies, cheats, and abuses others to get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, by sticking to their principles of being honest and, trustworthy, the hero always overcomes whatever's put in their way. But it's kind of like inculcating that sort of lesson into the children from an early age.
Right. They're entering the machine, right? As Pink Floyd might say. They're being processed. As to how to behave socially, and what are the consequences of not being a good person.
And a lot of the fairy tales are that same way. When they would tell these fairy tales to kids, or like to watch out for the fairies, it was a way to kind of tell them a moral lesson or something that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't transgress this.
Right.
The fairies are out there. The fairies will lead you astray.
Yeah.
The fairies will make you leave your family. The fairies will make you lie. And so these were all one of the reasons why people told fairy tales at one time.
Right. Don't accept candy from the guy in the white van. Stranger danger.
He's a fairy.
He's a fairy. Yeah.
Right. But it would be the same like, hundreds of years ago. Don't go out in the woods accepting things from people because they're fairies and they'll kidnap you.
There are bad people out there who will do bad things to you.
But one of the best explanations of fairy tales I read through all this was in a book by Diane Purkis, which is called Fairies and Fairy Stories: A History. And Purkis says that human nature seems to abhor a blank space on a map where there are no human habitations, no towns, where villages dwindle into farms and farms into woods. Mapping stops. Then the imagination rushes to fill the woods with something other than blank darkness. Nymphs, satyrs, elves, gnomes, pixies, and fairies.
Yeah, I totally... Science fiction. That's what science fiction is all about. We don't know what's out there, so we, fill it up with stories and characters of aliens.
Yeah. And that's exactly what she says. She goes, we're terrified of the unknown, and so... in a lot of ways, traditional fairy tales are like ghost stories, in that we try to explain something that's happening. We can't explain what's going on, so we attribute it to fairies or ghosts. And she says, like you just mentioned, John, Purkis notes that now that we have mapped every inch of our planet, space aliens have become our modern day fairies.
Ooh, see, I was dead on it. Speaking of which, I'm hearing good things about Aliens Earth on FX. Have you watched it? Yes.
Really?
I'm hearing good things. That movie scared the hell out of me, the first one. The second one was fantastic as an action movie. But that first one, oh my God.
Yeah, it was more like a terrifying horror film. Yeah, and the second one was an action movie.
Yeah, which I thought was very smart. When you do a sequel, change the genre. That's a good move.
What's this new? This new Aliens are it's like Breaking Bad.
That's right. Somebody said that it does something weird with its eye.
Really?
Yeah.
What, the fairy does?
The alien. I'm on the
the alien.
Yeah.
The alien.
That weird, that mouth that's inside the mouth. The mouth opens and another mouth comes out, then it opens. Oh,
and then and then the eye, and it blinks at you.
Yeah. Can you that's too much for me. Oh.
Can you do the quick blink? Can you do the, like, you say a joke and then you do a quick blink, or you say something kind of sarcastic and you do the quick blink at somebody?
Like a wink? Or what?
Yeah, like a wink, like, hey, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
And you, what? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not very good at it.
I can't do it. But Purkis says also that space aliens behave just like the fairies of our ancestors did. And if you think about it, where do alien encounters usually occur? Like on a dark road, someone's driving alone by themselves.
Yep.
And they see strange lights in the distance that get closer and closer. Or maybe they'll be out hiking around in the country by themselves, and they'll stumble across some space alien craft and space aliens out there doing something, that they're unobserved, or they don't see the person, but the person's able to watch them do whatever they want.
And the next thing, you're getting anally probed.
I tried to connect those dots with aliens. I didn't see that. But besides that, those are all the circumstances where people used to always report seeing fairies. The same, you'd be out riding your horse on your own, dark night, you'd see lights.
Yep.
And so Purkis says that these are all ways that we try to explain our fear and anxiety of the unknown.
Yes, I hear that.
Yeah. And she says that also traditionally, fairies would usually appear before and during the, quote, big crises of mortal life. Birth, childhood, adolescence, sexual awakening, pregnancy and childbirth, old age, and death.
Oh, okay. So they come at the time when you're changing chapters.
Right. And again, it's an unknown. Like when you're like getting married, you don't know what the marriage is going to be like, or you're getting ready to die. You don't know what that's. And those were when fairies would kind of pop up.
Okay.
They just
So
get off on it.
I'm due soon as a Lehr.
Yeah. Yeah. Get ready. The fairies coming for you, John.
Fairies are coming my way.
And in the article, Fairies and the Folklore of Disability, Changelings, Hybrids, and the Solitary Fairy, Susan Everly quotes the writer Reidar Christiansen, who wrote that the fairy belief... Reidar. Reidar?
Wow, what a name.
Yeah. He wrote that the fairy belief arose in answer to some of the more puzzling of life's mysteries. Questions of the untimely death of young people, of mysterious epidemics among cattle, of climatic disaster, of both wasting diseases and strokes, or infantile paralysis and the birth defects.
And today we have conspiracy theories.
I know. It's all those anxiety. People just, you'd attribute all of those to the fairies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fairies are doing that. And besides these, Pwca also says, beside us on these momentous chronological fault lines stands the fairy, just where she has always stood, on the edges, on the fringes, and on the cracks. And you and I did a film called Cracks.
Yes, we did. With Justine Bateman. And Carlos Jacot.
I know.
That was fun.
It was fun.
I have it.
We have to figure out how to link it and post it for people to watch it.
It's on videotape is the thing. I also have the film. I have the original film.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe bring that to one of our live performances. We'll do a screening of it.
All right.
We'll push out we'll get the AV guy at the barbecue place to push it out.
And, rent a projector if I get you one?
Yeah, I do. I have a 16 millimeter that I occasionally will show like
projectionist too in Kansas City.
I worked at a cinema, but I would work the concession stand. I wasn't a projection.
Okay. For some reason, I thought.
Yeah. Looking back, I think we should have put a fairy in Cracks. It probably would have given us a little
lift. Yeah, you're right. Maybe the
leg
fairies
up at the festivals
who got in the way of that film.
I know.
That was a fun film.
That was a fun film. But damn fairies. Damn fairies. They jinxed us at the festivals. And so Pwca notes that the reason fairies show up at these periods of change in our lives is that the fairy offers the dual promise of bliss and terror.
Oh,
which I think is great.
Jesus, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. There's some peace inside, right between bliss and terror.
Yeah. I still feel like starting a new job or getting divorced, starting a new chapter, it's in between bliss and terror.
Yeah.
And the fairies can sense that, and that's usually when the fairies will
show up.
Show up to help. It's supposedly help you. And Pwca also adds, we need to recover the fear of fairies in order to understand their importance to pre-industrial people.
Okay.
And so again, we kind of think of them all as being like a fairy princess or fairy that just kind of flit around, turn in teapots, they make teapots talk and stuff. But really, 500 years ago, you would have been terrified of a fairy.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to put myself in that mindset.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because of how we see in the, like I say, probably in the late 1890s, early 1900s, is when they started having associating fairies specifically with childhood.
Yeah, and granting wishes. It kind of became, the fairy was the, what was Peter Pan's, was that Tinkerbell?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Tinkerbell. Yeah.
And I read a lot about it, and there wasn't time to go into it, but there's a lot of dark stuff in Peter Pan.
Yes. Kind of the Roald Dahl approach to children's stories,
right? And the lost children, and the dead children
by the alligators and Captain Hook. Yeah, there's a lot of scary stuff in that.
And
well, I mean, look at Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, man. The one that kidnaps the kids. I forgot what he's called, but oh my god, it scared the hell out of me.
Yeah. It's all done. We've lost some of that darkness, I think.
I agree.
Fairy tales.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll try to post some of this stuff about, because Tinkerbell, apparently in the live plays of Peter Pan in the early 1900s, Tinkerbell would be just a spot of light on the stage. They do it with a spot, you know.
Well, how else are you gonna do it? Come on.
I know. And then when they did the cartoon of it, I think it was Tinkerbell who, the kind of joke, of course, is the Disney cartoonist made her kind of look like Marilyn Monroe.
She was hot. Tinkerbell was as an adolescent boy, Tinkerbell, I zoned right in on that.
And that's one of the things, is like Tinkerbell is supposed to be like trying to lure Peter out of his lure him out of childhood to become a man.
Oh, I see.
But anyway, that's a lot better way to do it than a flashlight.
Yeah, hell yeah. You got that one. Disney got that one right.
I know. So what exactly is a fairy? There's been a lot of theories put out over the years to try to explain them. One theory is that fairies are actually a race of ancient Britons who lived in the British Isles before they were driven out by the Celts during the Iron Age.
Well, isn't that kind of what the Lilliputians were? Were they, in Gulliver's Travels, they were a race of little people
that had been driven out by normal humans or something?
Yeah.
In Ireland, there's the Tuatha De Danann, who are fairies who are supposed to be the original inhabitants of Ireland, who were forced underground by the Celts during the Iron Age. And that's why the fairies are often associated with mounds and caves and old underground ruins.
Okay. Again, stuff that's unexplainable and a little scary and hard to figure out.
And also, that's supposed to be why fairies hate iron and steel, because it reminds them of the Iron Age invaders that came and forced them out.
I didn't know fairies hate iron and steel.
Yeah. If you meet a fairy, you're supposed to take off your keys, your zippers, everything.
Like going under a CAT scan or whatever it is.
Exactly. And that's also the reason why some people believe that fairies may be old pagan gods who have been reduced in stature with the coming of Christianity. So a lot of people, Pwca says, feel that the fairy queen Morrigu is actually the old Celtic. She's an old Celtic goddess.
Oh,
Morrigu.
Okay. Morrigu sounds like a monster you'd run into in your D&D game.
I know.
You roll your 20-sided dice to see how much of your charisma will help you.
Were you into D&D?
No, I only played a couple of times.
My
brother was into it, and I played once in college, but it was fun. I loved it.
Yeah, me too. It was such a good thing, especially when we were old enough to start drinking. Then you could just sit around.
You're smoking weed.
Yeah.
Well, you and your brother used to play that crazy, what was that crazy game you played? That World War I?
Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. It was a World War II game that would go on for days.
Oh my God, that was crazy.
In the book Fearsome Fairies, Haunting Tales of the Fae, Elizabeth Durnley also says that another theory is that fairies are the souls of the departed.
Okay, like ghosts.
Exactly, like ghosts. And like ghosts, fairies were also often associated with witches and witchcraft.
Okay, I get that. Tinkerbell had a wand.
Well, Durnley notes that a woman who was tried for witchcraft in the 1600s on the Scottish island of Orkney was also accused of seeing fairies rise out of the churchyard.
She made them rise out, or
she just said they accused her. I mean, this is the 1600s in a witch trial, which we did an episode on witch trials.
Yes, we did. That was a great episode.
but they just said that they accused her not only of being a witch, but one of the things they said is that she also saw fairies rise.
But she saw it? You get burned for seeing it?
I know.
Jesus. God, note to self, don't tell anybody anything at a witch trial.
Yeah, just clam up. Just
it's
clam
like when
up.
you get pulled over by a cop. Don't say anything.
That's a way. God. That's a way to witch trial as well. Just clam up. I'm not saying I want my lawyer. I want my lawyer. I want my lawyer.
Wow.
Also, Joan of Arc, when she was tried for witchcraft, apparently the prosecutors were especially interested in a fairy tree, which she had mentioned that she often visited.
Why would she mention that again?
Just lawyer up. Lawyer up.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, you asked me if I'm a witch or not? It's so weird because I had a fairy tree I saw. What are you doing?
Yeah. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Durnley also notes that another theory proposed that the fairies were fallen angels.
Okay.
So they thought that. And she quotes Robert Kirk, who was a Scottish minister in the 1690s, who said that fairies were of a middle nature betwixt man and angel, as were the demons thought to be of old.
Okay. Way to take a position, Kirk. Well, they're kind of us, but kind of not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
Hard to argue. Another biblical explanation of fairies is found in the New Testament, and in John 10:16, Jesus refers himself to himself as the Good Shepherd, and then he says, "I have other sheep who are not of this fold." And some people have said, what are these other sheep that he's referring to? And people have said, those must be the fairies.
That, I gotta say, I'm no Bible scholar. That seems like a leap to me.
Yeah. But I love that they're using the Bible to try to explain fairy myself.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And then finally, in the 1800s, after Darwin published On the Origin of Species in 1859, some scientists thought that fairies were actually beings that had taken a different evolutionary route to that of humans.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that. If you haven't discovered the planet yet, you haven't combed over every square inch. Yeah. Because they were finding all kinds of weird things.
Like we've discussed, they were finding like Neanderthal skulls and Homo erectus skulls. And so it just made sense that, well, maybe fairies are like this other species that's out there that we just don't know about.
Right.
Which is kind of what people say about Bigfoot now.
Yes.
If you think about it.
Yes. Yes, they do. The problem with Bigfoot is we've seen a lot of the earth.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that in our Bigfoot episode, but they're like spotting Bigfoot everywhere, like in shopping parking lot, like mall parking lot, digging through the trash and everything.
Where can I go to not see Bigfoot?
He's everywhere. I'm exhausted. Chances are you're going to get one. A trap. You could go down to Lowe's and get a trap to trap a Bigfoot in your backyard.
Can't I just hang out with a chupacabra for a while? Something different.
The Bigfoot keeps getting in my garbage and crapping out my backyard. I got to go to Lowe's. And Durnley also notes that fairies are often associated with sexuality.
Yes. Now we're getting someplace.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, it comes back to like they're used to convey a lesson, usually about sex, a moral lesson.
They're a little dangerous.
Right.
They're attractive but dangerous. There was a woman who played a fairy at a Ren fest. I worked at Renaissance festivals. Who was a blue fairy, very attractive.
No.
Very.
We may have to pause this because I want to hear more about it.
Yeah, I never had a word. She was always in character and she wouldn't speak.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Which made her even more attractive. But I got nowhere with that fairy.
She says, Durnley says that seductively threatening female fairies as with other alluringly sinister supernatural women found in myths and legends worldwide, invariably embody patriarchal fears about unruly female sexuality.
Yeah, right. The power that they were afraid of, the power of
Right.
the feminine. Yeah.
And also the Scottish Kelpies, which were like water horses or water fairies, were also known. They could take the form of a handsome young man and come out of the the loch and come seduce the women in the village.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it when you Kelpie? That's what they're called?
A Kelpie. They're called
and they
Kelpies.
were kind of horses and fairies?
They different ways that they've been expressed, but usually like a water horse that's found in streams or running water. But
it
they
sounds
can
like
also
My Little Pony stuff, like all the furries, the whole scene.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah,
very sexual. Horses and women, man. I don't know.
That's why they love the women. All love the Broncos. That's what I say.
Because of the horses.
Yeah, that's what
they're playing well.
Another funny story I came across was a story about the Bowman, Bowman. And in this story, Diane Pwca says a young Scottish woman named Catherine Jones' daughter. They actually name her in this story.
Jesus. Did they get her permission?
I don't know. This was back in the old days, Yeah. But they give her a name, like, well, that's woman in Scotland, Catherine Jones' daughter. She met a fairy calling himself the Bowman.
Okay. Uh-oh.
And according to the story, Pwca says, in exchange for sex, the Bowman gave Catherine knowledge, and knowledge is power.
Oh.
So it was.
So the moral of the story is, don't let women get smart.
Right.
Because it'll make them too powerful.
Right. And probably the Bowman was just some guy who just said before there were film producers, you would say you were a fairy, and then you would like seduce women that way.
Yeah. I'm a Bowman. I'm Bowman.
I'm a fairy. I can give you unlimited knowledge, And then, so now we'll take a look at the different types of fairies that are out there, John.
Okay.
And Pwca actually, she traces the belief in fairies throughout Europe back to the demons of the ancient Mediterranean.
Whoa.
And she makes like connections between like the Gorgon in Greek mythology, which was the manifestation of pure fear. There was also in ancient Mesopotamia a demon called Lamashtu who would steal children from pregnant women.
Okay, makes sense.
And also the nymphs, and the fates who you mentioned as well. And Pwca says that all of these demons and demon stories sound very familiar to what later became fairy stories in Western Europe. So the first type of fairy she mentions are brownies, hobs, and familiars.
Hobs?
Hobs. Yeah, they all have like crazy name. But a brownie is described as being like a very small, brown, shaggy human, sometimes naked, but wearing ragged brown clothes.
Okay. All right.
And he usually lives in one house and serves one person.
Okay.
So Carol Rose says that brownies are the most industrious of household spirits, plowing, reaping, grinding grain, churning butter.
Whoa.
In fact, most of the tedious jobs the brownie will do.
I want a brownie.
I know.
Oh, that's like that character in Harry Potter.
The house elf. House elf. Yeah.
It's a brownie.
Yeah. That's basically what he is. Yeah. And Carol Rose says that the brownie, for all of his work, he's entitled to a bowl of the best cream and a newly baked cake.
Whoa! To be put every day? Jesus! I clean my bathroom. I have to bake a cake.
I'm making a mess, but you got to clean it up.
You're gonna have to do more than churn some butter if you want me to make a cake for you every day.
But the bad thing is the brownie, it won't accept any other form of payment besides cake and cream.
Yeah.
And if you take pity on it or give it new clothes, it was considered an insult to the brownie.
What? Okay. Not the brightest thing on fairy legs.
He also hated to be criticized. So
Well,
I'd watch
hey,
out.
maybe I'm a brownie. Which fairy likes to be criticized?
There's a special power that he's immune to criticism.
Oh, God.
Those are the rarest of fairies of all. I've never seen that fairy.
They're very successful.
The third type of fairy lives in a fairy society.
What?
And a fairy society actually had a king and a queen.
Oh, Jesus. So it's like a little, like the Lilliputians.
Right.
They've got a whole little culture. You know, it's weird. I go by houses today in certain neighborhoods, and there are fairy houses that people have.
They put them out. Yeah, yeah.
What is that all about? People just think it's fun, or what? And these are people who don't necessarily have kids either.
Right. I think Mary saw those in San Francisco one time that people were building, though. It's supposed to be kind of cute. I think it comes back to who was it? The sociologist Max Weber back in in 1917, I think it was. He said that the world had become disenchanted with like the industrial age.
I see.
And that we didn't have superstition, we didn't have magic anymore.
Right.
So along with all the fairies that we're talking about now, Max Weber, I think that when people build those, it's supposed to be a way of re-enchanting.
Yes. Well,
world.
I guess that's like the spirituality craze of the turn of the century too, in the early 1900s, because there was so much automation going on that people turned to seance and just to feel like life is more than just objects. Just
it wasn't completely rational. We couldn't explain everything. There was still some wonderment left in the world. I think that's what people do. But I think that's a great example of people still doing what fairies have traditionally done.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm reading this biography on Jack Parsons, who was one of the guys who started the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And at night, he was an occultist. He was like a follower of Aleister Crowley. So so interesting that the scientists needed that kind of other side to have life be fulfilling. Like, and I guess it makes sense because you're at that time also you're right on the cusp of breaking the atom, and things you can't see almost makes you more likely to believe in magic, because even the quote unquote science felt so magical, that anything's possible in a weird way.
But that's kind of like the disenchantment would be once you explain that away, then what is left?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And so at night he was going home and like writing pentagrams on his floor and stuff. Isn't that crazy?
That's
a
amazing.
Great story.
That is a great story. Yeah. That's a great example. Mary recently watched a documentary on Wayne Shorter, who's a jazz musician. And she said at the end of it, they show his play, and he's really into fairies. Like Wayne Shorter is really into fairies. When I mentioned this episode,
well, jazz musicians. I mean, come on.
but again, it's like
you ever hung out with those guys? I mean, Jesus.
It's like heroin is like the new fairyland. You know what I mean?
It sure is.
You think it's only been a few hours, but you've been away for days. There's also the part of the trooping fairies are the will-o'-the-wisp, the Terran, and the short hoggers, who are supposed to be little fairies or pixies that cause the lights that people would often see out on the bogs and moors.
Okay, so they're just out there messing around. Short boggers? Is that what you said? Short boggers?
Yeah, it was. Let's see, the Terran and short hoggers.
Short hoggers. God, I love that. What a good name for a football team.
The short hoggers. It'd be like a little fairy.
The Des Moines short hoggers.
And Carol Rose notes that the will-o'-the-wisp would mislead, these were pixies, would mislead nightbound weary travelers by lighting lanterns and traveling ahead, encouraging the travelers to follow into ditches, bogs, and disaster.
Okay, yeah. You're drunk, you fall asleep, and so you blame it on a will-o'-the-wisp. That's like people who say they're running late. Oh, there was last minute traffic.
Yeah.
You know, Waze all of a sudden added 10 minutes. You're like,
yeah. It's like, let's just be honest. Let's just be honest here. There's always traffic. You know there's always traffic in LA.
Well, we have computers now that tell us everything. By the way, I took another Waymo, another automated car, Uber car. Yesterday.
Oh, did you? How is it?
Love it.
Really?
Love it. Yep. I can't wait till that's all there is.
Was it weird? Did you sit in the front or the back?
The back.
Really?
Yeah. But you can even sit behind the wheel if you want to.
Really?
Yeah.
Will it let you sit on the hood and drive you around? It's just like
no, it won't go anywhere unless you do what it tells you, which I like that.
Yeah.
Do it. Let's just have robot cars take over.
Talk about re-enchantment or disenchantment with the world. AI is making me disenchanted. The Will-o'-the-Wisp, by the way, was also known as Billy with the Wisp.
What?
In West Yorkshire. Dicko Tuesday.
Oh, boy.
In the eastern counties.
I've been to plenty of bars that have Dicko Tuesday night.
It's another format, Taco Tuesday. We have Dicko Tuesday night.
Right after happy hours, Dicko Tuesday.
The Will-o'-the-Wisp was also known as Journey Burnt Tail in Cornwall.
And you're making these up.
No, this is why I had 100 pages of notes.
Journey Burnt Tail.
Jenny Burnt Tail. And then also in Somerset and Cornwall, the Will-o'-the-Wisp was known as Joan in the Wad or Joan the Wad.
Okay. I went to high school with Joan the Wad.
It all sounds like just something you would like make up, like you were saying, like after a tryst or something. Like why were you late coming home last night? I was pixie led by Dicko Tuesday, or I was Joan the Wad.
Joan the Wad there too. Yes, she was.
And then we get the leprechauns, who are solitary fairies, which you mentioned already.
Right. Sorry.
And usually leprechauns in Irish folklore are fairy shoemakers.
Huh.
And they're usually seen wearing a leather apron and mending a shoe.
Oh, that's true. They are seen with leather aprons. I think I'm not 100% sure about this, but is the Lucky Charms character, is he wearing an apron?
He is. Oh, I don't know if he's wearing, I think he's wearing like a little suit.
Is it?
But traditionally they would be mending a shoe, so little less glamorous than guarding a pot of gold, I
guess. Yeah. But just as important.
And then we get to the
very important.
Yeah, you probably made more money mending shoes than like looking for a pot of gold, I think.
I just got some new orthopedic insoles for my shoe. It changed my life. Changed my life. I had no idea.
Gels? Are they gels?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
But
no, you got to have them.
My arches are high. So these are high, give me some support there. Fantastic.
You have beautiful feet, John.
Thank you. I've been told that.
Then there were tutelary fairies, Tutelary, and these were fairies that were supposed to be attached to particular families, like the banshee. And according to Carol Rose, the banshee, which means woman of the hill, looks like an old woman with glowing red eyes and a gray cloak over a green dress.
Yeah. And a scream that'll knock. Let me tell you, we've got a banshee in Griffith Park lately.
Oh, no, really?
There is a homeless guy that lives in Griffith Park that screams so loud.
Oh my!
Yeah, and I haven't heard him, so I'm thinking maybe they've gotten him some help. But I mean, just the sheer volume, it would echo throughout the hills.
And he just all night long or day long? Really? Just screaming.
Poor guy.
I hope he got
I can relate. Yeah. When I was really drunk, I would do that. Jesus.
Well, the banshee is supposed to be, Rose says, quote, an attendant of spirit of old Celtic families having O' or Mac in their surnames.
Maybe you have a banshee.
I was thinking about that. You would think my dad was a McCray, my mom's a McCarty.
Yeah.
You would think I would have a banshee, but there's never been any stories of a banshee in our Probably we were too drunk.
Yeah.
We were too drunk to notice the
guys,
screaming.
it was there. You guys were just too busy.
Just screaming away, and none of us like even paying attention. We didn't even turn the music down. Yeah. I was thinking that, or maybe like my aunts, they would invite the banshee and then try to sleep with it. So, John, now just quickly, we'll talk about changelings, as we mentioned before. Usually, if a child was born with a defect in, I don't know, like the 15, 16, 1700s even, they would usually blame that on the mother's thoughts.
Oh my God.
Like, conscious or unconscious, that
it's
she
your
had.
fault. Jesus, can you imagine?
Right.
My God.
And so one of the ways that, you could like try to, I don't know, pass along or avert blame or something is you would say like, well, this isn't my baby. My baby, when it came out, was fine. This is actually a changeling. The fairies have brought me this baby instead of my baby.
I see.
And Carol Rose notes that in certain parts of England, all the way up until Victorian times, women would often tie their babies to their beds so that they wouldn't be stolen by fairies.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So if you had a beautiful, a perfect baby, you would like tie it to its bed so the fairies wouldn't come and get it.
Oh my
God. And then in what they also said, you would have to do things, and this is why I was talking about was awful, to make the baby reveal its true nature and to make the fairies come back and get their baby and leave your own baby.
Oh, no.
And so one of the ways that they would do that, K.M. Briggs notes that in Wales, the changeling would reveal its true nature if it was set on a heated shovel or bathed in a potentially lethal solution of steeped foxglove leaves.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
A heated shovel.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
So Susan Eberly in Fairies and the Folklore of Disability says, quote, often these methods of revealing the true nature of the changeling were little more than socially countenanced forms of infanticide.
Yeah.
So that's it.
God damn.
Yeah, it's awful. That's why I was saying. But it was a way that you would try to explain. Or like if babies were born with a defect like having webbed fingers, which is one of the most common genetic birth defects that people have, they would blame the mother of sleeping with a kelpie or sleeping with a merman or something.
What's wrong with webbed fingers? They can swim better.
I know. I get, is it syndactyly? There's a term for it, but it's very common. And then if it was in your population, you would probably, it would come up again. You know what I mean? As in your village or whatever. So it was like, they're all sleeping with the merman or something.
Right.
So now, John, we're going to go on quickly to talk about the Cottingley fairy incident in 1920. And it's probably one of the most well-documented fairy incidents, not only because it involved photography, which was a new technology at the time, or at least technology that you could take out into the woods.
Right.
But it also involved Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, as we mentioned.
Unreal.
And Arthur Conan Doyle even wrote a book about the incident in 1922 titled The Coming of the Fairies, the Cottingley Incident.
Was this towards the end of his life? Like, was he getting older at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was.
And
he had gotten into spiritualism, which I guess that ruined his relationship with Harry Houdini, because Houdini was saying it was all a bunch of,
bullshit.
Yeah. But in the introduction to his book, Doyle says, it is hard for the mind to grasp what the ultimate results may be if we have actually proved the existence upon the surface of this planet of a population which may be as numerous as the human race, and which is only separated from ourselves by some difference of vibrations.
Oh my God.
So his thing was like they were moving so fast we couldn't see them, but they were around us.
I get that. I mean, it's possible, I guess.
Yeah. So, according to F.R.
We're in
Marr,
a different phase than we are.
That's what I heard. I think it was Serona Knight in The Idiot's Guide to Elves and Fairies also says that they're at a different, we could kind of see them out of the corner of our eyes,
Uh-huh.
but we can't quite make them out because they're vibration. They're on a different realm. They're just
Okay.
going faster than we are.
Okay.
Which
Yeah.
again is kind of similar to ghosts. I think when people talk about, oh, you could kind of see them out of the corner of your eye,
Right.
but you can't really see them.
Difficult to disprove that theory,
Yeah, I know. Uh, so according to F.R. Marr in the book Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and the Secret of the Cottingley Fairies, in 1917, two young girls in Cottingley, England, Elsie Wright, who was age 16, and her cousin Frances Griffiths, who was age 9, borrowed Elsie's dad's camera and took it outside their house. And they claimed that they had photographed themselves with a bunch of fairies down by the stream.
One of them is 16 and the other is 9?
Yeah.
That's a big gap at that age.
That is a big gap.
I mean, a 16-year-old can be babysitting a 9-year-old.
I know. I think they were still hanging. Apparently, one of the younger one had just moved back with her family from South Africa.
Uh-huh.
So I think they were staying with the older girl's family for a while, and that's when they said they took the camera out. And keep in mind, like a Instamatic or like a Brownie camera, was a new technology at that time. And when the photos were developed, they showed Elsie playing with a group of dancing fairies, and Frances touching the hand of a little impish-looking fairy male. Okay. And the story is that they showed them to their parents, and the parents just threw them in a drawer and forgot about them.
Okay.
Now, that's kind of a tip-off to me. Like, if your kid goes out and, like, photographs fairies behind your house, I don't think I would just throw that in a drawer and forget about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But 2 years later, Elsie's mother took the photos to a meeting of the Theosophical Society. And Theosophy is kind of like a mystical cult.
Oh, boy.
Not really cult, but like a group that tries to synthesize all religions and spirituality.
Right.
And
sort
from
of
there,
Gnostic realm practice.
Right. I think they actually trace their heritage. The Theosophists trace it back to the Gnostics.
Okay.
The old Gnostics. And there they made the photos made their way to Edward Gardner, who was one of the top Theosophists in England at the time.
Oh my God.
And he said he originally thought that they looked like fakes, but to be sure, he asked for the negatives. Okay.
Right.
And so then he took the negatives to a couple of photography experts, and the first one said they're fakes. They're fakes. And the second one said, I don't know, it looks like that it moved. The figures moved during when this photo was taken.
Because they're a little blurry.
Right. And it was that second expert who Gardner went with. So again, it's kind of like they've gone both ways,
Yeah, you go with what you want.
Right. And
I get it though. This was like photography was new, photography tricks. It's sort of like what we're seeing with AI. All the AI stuff that we're seeing online now. It's like freaking people out. I wonder if in a generation people will look at that and go, "Oh my God, those idiots!"
How did they believe all that?
Yeah,
and they were already using photography to show like ghosts, like ectoplasm and stuff. You see those old photographs of ectoplasm, and they were all faked, or hoaxed, or they do a double exposure and show like a departed loved one standing behind somebody.
Right.
So this was all that time when technology was being used to try to explain things.
Right.
But what Gardner then did is he said that he didn't think that the negatives they needed a clearer print of the fairies to really look at it.
Okay.
So he took the negatives to another Photoshop and asked that guy to like make new prints and kind of clean it up. Okay. So the original photos, he then took these kind of clear photos of the fairies.
Yeah.
And he started selling them at his lectures. Okay. And it was from there, but these weren't the original photos. These were the cleaned up photos.
Right.
And it's from there that those photos, somebody picked up those photos at one of his lectures and sent them off to Conan Doyle. And Conan Doyle, who had already, he was into spirituality, was like bowled over by him.
Wow.
He was just thought they and from there it just took off, because now it's like the creator of Sherlock Holmes thinks these may be genuine.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so he wrote a book in 22, I think it was, about the fairies. And Doyle said at the time, the recognition of fairies' existence will jolt the material 20th century mind out of its heavy ruts in the mud, and will make it admit that there is glamour and mystery to life.
Wishful thinking.
Right. And another guy in 1925 named Jeffrey Hodson wrote a book called Fairies at Work and Play. And he went out, he said he interviewed Francis and Elsie and their families, and that they were completely sincere, and therefore he felt like they would never lie to anybody, never do anything. And so he felt the photos were genuine. And even in 1927, there was a Fairy Investigation Society founded in England.
My God.
Who from 1927 to 1939, then they stopped during World War II, and then from 45 to 60, they resumed their work, and they would go out and investigate fairy sightings.
Like UFO people.
Right. And for the next 60 years, people debated whether or not the Cottingley fairies were real or not. And Elsie and Francis for years said that they were real.
Why?
And so
how could they stick to it? Did they feel like they had to, like they were afraid? Like at first
Yeah, it came out later that Francis, or who was it? Francis said, she said, I never even thought of it as being a fraud. It was just Elsie and I having a bit of fun. And I can't understand to this day why they were all taken in. They wanted to be taken in.
Yeah.
And
why not tell them the truth?
Well, that's what Elsie later said. They didn't want to embarrass Arthur Conan Doyle. Because she said, quote, 2 village kids and a brilliant man like Conan Doyle, well, we could only keep quiet.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so what happened is in 1978, someone stumbled upon some illustrations from a children's book that was published in 1914 that were almost identical to those fairies.
They cut them out. They just cut them out of the book?
They traced them. Apparently, Elsie had trained as an illustrator at a print shop.
Oh, my God. At 16?
Yeah, because she was already, that was middle age at that time, and so she had just traced them as a joke, basically.
Yeah.
And then they put them on hat pins and stuck them in the trees.
Oh.
And so it was, they're kind of, I sent you the photos. What do you think of them?
Fake. They're obviously fake. There's no question. But then again, I've seen fake stuff and Photoshop stuff for my whole life. So back then, that was all new technology. The idea,
right?
A camera captures a 3-dimensional subject in 2 dimensions.
Yeah.
So when you have a 2-dimensional subject, it around 3-dimensional, it appears that it's 3-dimensional if it's taken from the right angle. And
right. And the thing is, I guess the movement they saw was actually those paper drawings of the fairies just blowing in the wind. But F.R. Marr says that eventually people discovered, once they admitted that it was a hoax, Elsie and Francis, that they discovered the original negatives.
Yeah.
And they said the original negatives showed that, these were like flat images.
Right.
And that, there was some flaws in it. So when that guy redid the image, he made them rounder.
It to make it look more real. That son of a bitch.
Right.
Oh my God. Well, also what makes them look believable is that the way they're posed.
Yeah.
It's in this idyllic fairy-like, there's moss and plants and things. And the girls have these crazy braids in their hair.
Yeah.
And they're, posing with them. So it creates this powerful, it's not journalism, it's art,
right.
And so the power of that, I think also was probably fairly new, because they were just taking pictures of people who were posing for portraits. That's basically what photos were used for And here
Yeah, where you'd have to sit still, and these were supposed to be like action shots.
yeah, they felt
out behind.
dynamic. They were posed,
Yeah.
but they felt dynamic. Oh my God, that's so
Mary
cool.
Dixon, in an essay called Fairy Fraud, the Social Cultural Impact of the Cottingley Fairy Photographs, she talks about what is also important to understanding why people were so bowled over by these photos and why they wanted to believe in fairies was that it was coming at the end of World War One, where everybody in England had lost a family member or multiple family members. It was also in 1920, it was during the Spanish flu, so people were dying. And so she said, again, coming back to Max Weber, she said that it kind of primed people to want to know that there was still magic. There was something to hope for in life. And
That's
so
interesting.
therefore, when these hit, even with Conan Doyle, it was like people wanted to believe in fairies.
See, that's the problem with the way, because we need that right now, I think, as a culture. But we've explored so much and we have so much technology, it's very, very difficult
Yeah.
to create anything other than conspiracy theories, which
Right.
are usually very dark, very dark, magic-y kind of ideas.
Right. Right.
But we don't have any of the sort of, we need some cute fairies running
So
around.
fairy. I mean, people still do it's like a Renaissance, but they'll do fairy festivals where people dress up like fairies and they go out and they hear lectures about fairies. But you're absolutely right. I think conspiracy theories have that occult knowledge, but there's no brightness to it. There's no conspiracy theory for something good. You know
and
what
I
I mean?
blame that on the, what do they call it? The way Facebook, the way social media behaves. They found out that anger and fear is more engaging.
Right.
And it causes you to click more. The doom scrolling is much more effective than and it's just we cannot shake it. We built this machine that's just fairy proof.
Yeah, we need more re-enchantment with positive conspiracies.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen.
So John, just before we end, I want to talk about my own adventure in Fairyland because I have one. And in speaking of Fairyland, K.M. Briggs says the first appearance of Fairyland is beautiful and pleasant, but this is often the effect of glamour. However, eventually one will see that Fairyland is a desolated region with an accumulation of rubbish as its treasure and its delicious banquets, withered toadstools, and poisonous food.
That reminds me of Hollywood Boulevard. Everybody comes here for the Walk of Fame and they just see junkies and vomit. And
that's Fairyland. That's another Fairyland.
The truly weird thing is I love that aspect of LA. That's what I love about LA.
But do you remember in Kansas City, there was an amusement park back in the day called Fairyland?
No.
And it had a drive-in also, a twin drive-in called Fairyland.
What? No, I don't. Maybe
it was at 75th and Prospect in Kansas City, Missouri.
75th, so it was on the Missouri side in Prospect. Right. Jesus, that's a rough hood.
Right, but at that time it wasn't. And it was built Fairyland was built in 1923 by a Sicilian immigrant named Sam Bricado. And it was on 80 acres of land, and it had carnival acts,
80?
Rides.
Jeez.
Yeah. And a swimming
bigger
pool.
Than Silver Dollar City.
Yeah, I know. And they also had a band pavilion where, until it burnt down in the 40s, major acts like Cab Calloway, Glenn Miller, and Count Basie used to come and play at Fairyland Park.
Jesus. Can you imagine having that gig on your itinerary? Fairyland? What? Trust me. It's a great venue.
The bad thing about Fairyland, it's kind of notorious for this, is that it was segregated from the day it was opened all the way up until 1964. And Dan Kelly of the Kansas City Star actually wrote in an article that in 1961, 34 people were arrested during protests to integrate Fairyland Park. But another thing that happened in 1960,
I can't believe that would occur in Kansas City. I'm sorry.
I know. It's always Kansas City always tried to keep their segregation and racism kind of under the
Yeah.
It was there. It was always there, but
Always
they just
there.
kind of write it into like their, deeds and stuff to
Yeah.
keep Jews and blacks and, people out. But another thing that happened in 1961 is that Fairyland added a twin drive-in.
Okay.
Okay. And I should mention that in the mid 70s, Fairyland also used to host rock concerts called Carney Rock.
Oh,
Like
that sounds fun.
Yeah, you could go and see bands like REO Speedwagon, Bob Seger, Styx, BTO, and Blue Oyster Cult, all on the same bill for only like $8.
Oh my God. When was this? In the 80s?
No, 70s.
70s.
It was,
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I remember going to see The Thing. Not The Thing. Oh, God. It was about a baby that was born with hooves and a devil.
Yeah.
What was that thing called? What was that movie called? I wonder if I saw it there.
Damien? Was it the one with Damien?
Not Damien. It was a baby that was born with a devil's tail and a hoof. And I forgot.
I remember the poster for it. It had like the hoofs coming out of it. Yeah.
Freaky.
But the thing is, when Worlds of Fun was built in 1973, which was like Worlds of Fun was like a 235-acre theme park,
Six Flags type thing.
But the thing is, Fairyland at that point was its days were numbered.
Yeah, you can't compete with the Zambezi Zinger.
I know. It was just new. You know what I mean? Worlds of Fun was built by Lamar Hunt, I think. Also,
really?
The owner of the
now Kelsey owns part of it now.
Oh, Worlds of Fun?
Yeah.
Really? All right. So in 77, the amusement park closed, but Fairyland Drive-In soldiered on. Okay. And by the late 70s, even the drive-in was struggling.
Yeah.
And so one of the ways that Fairyland Drive-In decided to bring in some cash was they started
Here we go.
Soft porn pornography.
Really?
At the drive-in. At the drive-in.
So great.
Yeah. So I can't imagine anyone today ever thinking you could get away with showing porn on a drive-in screen. You know what I mean? God. How do you keep kids? How do you keep them
on the highway or driving down Prospect, passing it? Wait! Wow!
Just keep driving around. Just keep driving around. So one night in the late 70s, my brother David and I were hanging out. And I must have been about 15 or 16. So David would have been like 23, 24.
So we were friends then.
Yeah. It would have been right after we were friends. And we were a little bored. And so suddenly David said, let's go to the Dirty Drive-In. So we bought some beers and snacks and we headed off to Fairyland Drive-In. And for a teenage kid, I have to admit, it was truly magical. Just me and my big brother sitting there at his Galaxy 500, drinking beer, eating popcorn, and watching pornos at the drive-in. And to this day, I still remember one of the movies we watched. It was called There's Naked Bodies on My TV. And it was a sex parody of Happy Days, Welcome Back, Kotter, and Barney Miller.
Oh my God! But everybody's nude. Well, not nude,
but it's all sex. You know, it's like a topless.
Great. Oh my
and
God.
It had everything I love, like sex and comedy. You know what I mean?
That's fantastic.
And after the movie was over, I remember David and I were both like, "Hey, that was a pretty good movie." and we kind of sat there for a little bit, like Siskel and Ebert, you know, kind of like talking about the movie, the strengths of the movie, what was funny. And then the lights came on, and there's nothing more depressing than a drive-in movie when the lights are on.
Yeah.
When they come on.
Yeah.
And like Kay and Briggs said, there was trash and garbage and beer cans and vomit and used condoms and exhaust and dust and cars honking to get out and a couple people trying to sober up by the concession stand. And I remember as we drove out of the Fairyland Dirty Drive-In, it was most of the cars were just single men in the cars, except for me and my brother.
Yeah, you two.
And I realized then this wasn't Avalon or like Brigadude. This was a Dirty Drive-In at Fairyland Park in Kansas City.
Classic fairy story. Classic.
Yeah. So remember that this Halloween when you're out there. Remember that terrifying tale Terrifying fairy tale. It looks like magic, but it's just a dirty drive-in in Kansas City. So.
But the denouement is you guys went home and rubbed one out, each in one in the upstairs bathroom and one in the downstairs.
Like a genie's lamp. Like a genie's lamp.
Wow. Well, this is human number 2 signing off.
And this is human number 1. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. And thank you for helping us reach 10,000 downloads.
10,000!
We're in the 10,000 club. Yeah.
Oops. I accidentally hit the repeat. Sorry, everybody.
I was trying to think of like how many rim shots is he doing 10, for you to like up. There we go. Thank you for listening. Be sure to check out Watson & Company Socks, Puppies Not Piranhas on Etsy, American Karma and Media Room on Substack, and the Two Humans Cave Shop at Cafe Press. Happy Halloween, everybody. We love you guys. Thanks for everything. Beware the little men.
Happy Halloween.